A vortex is most commonly defined as a mass of whirling fluid or air, especially a whirlpool or whirlwind, in which the flow rotates around an axis line. So it's a mass of something that spins around and pulls objects down into its center, or when the spin around the center draws the outside in. That's a vortex. And math is often defined as the science of numbers, quantities, and shapes, and the relations between them. So vortex-based mathematics can be understood as a new way of understanding numbers, not just as mere quantities, but where each has its own unique quality, archetype, and behavior. While several mainstream sources have denounced this idea, calling it New Age pseudomath, the truth is that this alternative form of mathematics is not new at all, and actually is quite ancient, with similar concepts having been found etched on Babylonian clay tablets dating back several millennia. This non-linear, holistic view of math was also revered by none other than Nikola Tesla, who famously stated that, quote, "If you knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, you would have a key to the universe," end quote. Tesla believed that numbers had extreme importance, and so did the ancient Greek philosopher Pythagoras, who around 500 BC was famously quoted as saying, "All is number." The basic principle of vortex math is that all numbers can be reduced down to single digits, from 1 to 9, and this form of reduction is common in many forms of occult practices, commonly referred to as numerology, which is any belief in the divine or mystical relationship between a number and one or more coinciding events. It's also the study of the numerical value of letters in words, names, and ideas, and often associated with astrology or Kabbalah, where letters are assigned a numeric value. That said, the process of reducing a number down to one digit between 1 and 9 is also common practice not only in numerology, but also in mainstream science, such as with computer programming. So, for example, a number such as 12 would be reduced to 3 by adding 1 plus 2. The number 10 would be reduced to 1 by adding 1 plus 0. The number 99, for example, would be reduced by adding 9 plus 9, making 18, and further reduced by adding 1 plus 8, giving us 9. Understanding this principle, let us now apply this number 1 through 9 to a circle, a concept that was made famous in modern times by a gentleman named Marco Rodin, but which, as I said earlier, is actually very ancient. Notice the lines in the center, which resemble the Volkswagen logo, and the special relationship between 3, 6, and 9, which we will get into later. Let us start with the number 1. When we double the number 1, we get the number 2, which is connected here with a line. When we double the number 2, we get the number 4. When we double the number 4, we get the number 8. Doubling the number 8 gives us 16. And since 16 is a double digit, we reduce it by adding 1 and 6, giving us the number 7, which, as you can see, is connected to the number 8 by a line. Doubling 16, we get the number 32. And after reducing 32 by adding the 3 and the 2, we get 5, which is the next number connected to the 7. When we double 32, we get 64. We then reduce that by adding the 6 and the 4, which gives us 10. So we reduce that by adding the 1 and the 0, leaving us with 1. And we're back where we started. So there's a parallel between 64 and 1 when it becomes whole again, or a single unit. This is why 64 is the complete cycle for the Mayan calendar, or the I Ching. Also, there are 64 possible patterns for a codon in DNA. This doubling, or geometric progression, is commonly found in nature and was understood by the ancients. Now, if we go backwards, meaning reduce the number 1 by half, we would get 0.5, which translates to 5. If we reduce 0.5 in half, we get 0.25. And after adding the 2 and 5, it leaves us with 7. Reducing 0.25 in half gives us 0.125. And adding 1 plus 2 plus 5 gives us 8. Reducing 0.125 in half gives us 0.0625. And adding 0 plus 6 plus 2 plus 5 leaves us with 13. And adding 1 and 3 gives us the number 4. Half of 0.0625 is 0.03125. And adding 0 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 5 gives us 11. Reducing 11 by adding 1 plus 1 leaves us with the number 2. And finally, half of 0.03125 is 0.015625. And 0 plus 1 plus 5 plus 6 plus 2 plus 5 equals 19. 1 plus 9 equals 10, and 1 plus 0 gets us right back to 1 and where we started. This cycle of doubling each number or reducing each number by half works with any variation of the number you start with. So for example, if you start with 100 instead of 1 and reduce it in half or double it and follow the procedure we just did, you will find it works out perfectly. You may have also noticed that the pattern skipped the numbers 3, 6, and 9, the numbers that Nikola Tesla said were the key to the universe. When the number 3 is doubled, we get the number 6. When 6 is doubled, we get 12, and 1 plus 2 is 3. 12 doubled becomes 24, and 2 plus 4 is 6. 24 doubled is 48, and 4 plus 8 is 12, with 1 plus 2 bringing us back to 3. 48 doubled is 96, and 9 plus 6 is 15, with 1 plus 5 giving us 6. So no matter how often you double the 3 and the 6, or half them, you will find the oscillating back and forth between each other. Half of 6 is 3, half of 3 is 1.5, and 1 plus 5 is 6. Any variation will work. Half of 30 is 15, and again, 1 plus 5 gives us 6. So there's a very special relationship between 3 and 6, a back and forth cycle which none of the other numbers share. This finally brings us to the number 9, which is also sacred in Taoism, and we will now see why. What happens when we double the number 9? 9 becomes 18, and 1 plus 8 is 9. 18 doubled is 36, and 3 plus 6 is 9. 36 doubled is 72, and 7 plus 2 is 9. This goes on indefinitely. What happens when we half 9? Half of 9 is 4.5, and 4 plus 5 equals 9. Half of 4.5 is 2.25, and 2 plus 2 plus 5 is 9. So 9 is very unique, and while all the numbers are special in their own respect, 9 is the only one with this property, and why it is the center, forming the axis in the middle. This is further illustrated when we look at each set of numbers on each side of the circle equaling 9. 8 plus 1 is 9. 7 plus 2 is 9. 6 plus 3 is 9. And 5 plus 4 is 9. So 9 is in the middle, it separates and polarizes the numbers, turning the other numbers into a sort of mirror image, or right and left, or a positive and negative. Two sides of a coin, so to speak, two halves of a whole. Now, when we take away the trinity of 3, 6, and 9, we are left with 6 numbers: the 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, and 5. And esoterically speaking, these 6 make up the physical world of creation, the pattern that is repeated in physicality, the underlying geometry of the material world, which is essentially hexagonal, and this can be seen in nature, such as in the formation of crystals or in snowflakes. 3, 6, and 9 seem to transcend the physical and are therefore considered part of the higher world, which give them special applications in terms of physics and even religion or spirituality. While there's a lot more that can be said on the matter, let us listen to a talk given by Marco Rodin, who the Rodin coil is named after, which is a 3-dimensional toroidal shape with this vortex math applied to it. There are many claims made about this simple geometric shape, essentially made from copper wire coiled in a specific way, such as being able to produce free energy, or at least greatly amplifying energy. There are also many skeptics. That said, Tesla's work also had many skeptics, most of it buried under government classification, but that doesn't mean it wasn't valid or useful. That said, here's Marco Rodin in 2019.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, it's accurate. It's never before in Western civilization by Western academia. This discovery is timeless. It's existed forever. It'll exist forever in the past, forever in the future. It usually is a part of most civilizations and cultures and gets lost by the upheavals of the changes of geography and not only do we always talk about the conspiracy of our governments and our society, but there's a conspiracy going all the way up to the top. The major religions, Zoroastrianism, the Quran, the Bible, the Torah. I'm a Baha'i faith, whose scriptures are in Arabic and Persian. All those languages always have an aleph, and their aleph always represents God. And they don't have any vowels written in the language. They only have the vowel symbols, diacritical marks. And so all their alphabet is consonants. And it turns out that even the aleph is a consonant. That's a little tricky. And it turns out that if you get the precise mystic intonation of the most great name of God, that you will come to know what you have not known of all the states of sanctity. You will receive divine guidance. You will reach the apex of consciousness. It's supposed to be bestow immortality without death. So the topic is the most great name of God. Now, so the most holy thing in all those religions, your religions, everyone's religions, is in the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, is the name of God. You desecrate that, and it's not the word God, because in those languages, it's a sound, and they say it permeates the universe. The universe was created after it. So all this math and everything we're doing, I'm claiming to have decrypted, to literally figured out God's icon. I have figured out, I'm going to be showing you God's brainwave encephalogram pattern, because the whole universe is permeated by it. We live in the kingdom of emanation. Everything's emanating. We're all interacting with each other. A solar system doesn't look like it's connected because there's so vast the distance of the planets, but we see it from an overview from Earth. We see that it is indeed moving in a spiral. It's a vortex. whether it's imploding or exploding, it's still, we know the pathway things take. There's only so many kinds of galaxies for the most part, and they follow the same mathematical trajectory. And so the name of God, I discovered, explains that pathway. All I'm going to be sharing with you is the pathway that energy flows as it moves into the future. That's a 1800 year, in 1800, that's by Blake, the painting. He's touching where the 9 is. That is very significant that those 2 points don't touch. That is number 9. That's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is the lazy 8 infinity symbol. There are 2 different colors, the green. This is a triangle, this is red. Of course, this is 396. We're all familiar with Tesla's quote. If you knew the secret of 396, you would know the secret of the 369, he says. You would know the magnificence of the universe. There's so much to know about all this. It's very significant. That's where the missing 0 is. Only 9 lines up over 0. And what I'm about to explain is just one thing. That 9 lines up over that 0 vertically, but no other number lines up over anything else vertically. Everything else lines up horizontally, except nothing lines up with the 0 either. So this is the relationship of how nothing creates everything, how the universe was brought into being. You're all very patient with me because when I listen to the claims I make, it's just unbelievable. Okay, and it's in a circle. Okay, next please. Spirit is irresistible, penetrates everything, and is the source of all motion, vibration, and time. Why did I start with that? I have found a numerical formula for spirit. Okay, so spirit has a phasing. It has an activation sequence. It has a timing. That's true. I'm not even lightly embellishing it, okay? And I'm using it as a work wheel. I'm tapping into it. It's like the windmill or the, what are those things called in the water? Paddle wheel. Okay, I'm tapping into spirit. And there's a numerical formula for it. So what am I doing? I'm getting rid of calculus. I'm getting rid of equations. Or I'm giving them numerical equivalence. Because calculus is never any better than the person speaking it. Whereas numbers are a part of our world. They're a part of creation. They have attributes, they have physical properties, and they have a timing, which is very important. That'll be almost impossible to explain the timing tonight in this class. But timing, the relationship to geometry or to tiles or to tempo and timing is an inherent part of this discovery. So spirit is also called prana, chi, tachyon, monopole, dark energy, dark matter. It's also called soliton, Higgins, God particle. It's what everybody wants right now. It's what the big race is that everybody's looking for. I've elected to use the term they use in the scriptures, which is spirit. I could easily substitute any other name for it. Now I'm going to do a quick stop. Any questions? Please.
Will we be able to see the images on a website or in the future?
Thank you for asking. I am not worried about my well-being. So I am not copywriting anything. I am not patenting anything. I'm not requiring any NDAs. So when we're done, whoever gets this video, I hope you put it up on your YouTube channel. You do whatever you want with it. It belongs to you. I'm, in fact, doesn't belong to me, this discovery. It's not my property. I'm just doing the best I can to make sure you understand it.
So we can take a photo of if we see something we like, it's okay?
It's existed forever.
Thanks, Marco. Right on.
It's my pleasure. So these are called world boundary conditions lines, these big, thick red stuff, okay? And these numbers, it's one number per tile. And this is a chessboard, but it's a 3D chessboard. And this shape here is called, yes, we know it's a donut, but in science they don't call it that. Torus, T-O-R-U-S, or tori means multiple toruses. Our body was named after it. What's our body called? A toroid, human torso, T-O-R-S-O. You know what that means? It means you're getting put through the grinder. It means, because that hole is a tor. It means it's a hole. And it means that everything is either imploding into that hole or exploding out the other side. And if you don't have that hole, you're toast. It's all over because it's always in and out. Compression, decompression. Implosion, explosion. And it's doing something else. It's thermal. And that is this talk today. It's about heat dissipation, which is the very foundation of all physics and astrophysics, because this is modeling a black hole. And nothing goes through the hole in the center, or the hole wouldn't exist. It processes, see this red line? Spirals and defines the hole by being an aperture like our eye. Because there's something, I believe, emanating in this hole that's causing this hole to not close. Okay? And that's what I'm harnessing, and that's what I found. And that emanation that's shooting out of here is traveling in a straight line. You know I could talk on this picture for an hour, and you don't have that time. And I have so much more to say, but I'm going to cut my own throat and move on. So Abha Taurus, 18 by 36 top-down view. So it's 36 on the circumference, 18 right here. Next, please. Now, I might just come back to this stuff later on. So I think I'm going to now whip through the conference. I'm going to give you a preview instead of plodding in the mud and being slow. So this is a 60-degree angle view. No number, oh, we'll do it right here. I didn't say next. 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I might add that any image of this whole presentation is, in a hologram, the whole is in the part's in the whole. Doesn't matter which you take image in this explanation. I'm laughing because I'm thinking how extraordinary it is what you're seeing there. There's no words to describe the miracle of putting those numbers into place and seeing the donut from different perspectives. You have no idea how big of a deal this is in all of our lives and mankind's. This is a quote out of the scriptures. The key word was penetrates. I call on thee, O thou who penetrates all things. The other key word is all-seeing God, O all-seeing Lord of utterance, because that's called omniscience. Okay, and that's what Spirit does. It's a queen on a chessboard. She can go in any direction she wants. She's the only one. Only Spirit can do that, because that's all a dimension is how something moves through space. That's all it is. Okay, next please. Baha'u'llah. That's out of the Baha'i scriptures. So that's the symbol from the most great name of God. That's what I decrypted. Took 24 years to figure out how to make the torus out of that symbol. You see 3, 9, and 6 are completely separate. Here we have X, Y, and Z axes. This is positive X, negative X. Believe me, I could be explaining it much simpler, and I know it's so alien and foreign. The other thing is this makes a diamond in the center, which is the axis. The axis is everything. Okay, Jimi Hendrix says, bold as love, the axis, he knows everything. Everyone ever see that album with Jimmy with the cobra on the front? Mm-hmm. I grew up on that. Try and take that away from me, I'll fight you tooth and claw. So the axis is unique. It's represented by the number 9. Number 9 has a unique property. There's no other number like it because it never changes. Multiples of 9 is always itself, 9. And it's the axis. And the axis is unique because it can't be over to the right or to the left. If you take a gyroscope, turn it on, it will, if this pen was spinning and wobbling, as faster it spins, eventually it would be vertical. It would be standing up. So when God talks about the Aleph, when it's written in all those languages, it's always a blade of grass. It's always upright. And they're hiding these clues. This is a coil. See how it's a lazy 8, infinity, never ends? This also is a coil, but you don't see it yet. This is 50% of the numbers, that's 50% of the numbers. We come to put them together. Our body's called this mortal coil. Everything that exists on the third dimension is a coil. And coils always come in pairs. And they always counter spiral. And they always work together. But that's another story later on. As far as what you're asking, though, the technology that will save mankind and save our planet, that will get rid of the combustion engine, that will get rid of nuclear power, believe me, I would get rid of nuclear power yesterday. I'm so much against it for different reasons. Because plutonium is the most dangerous thing ever discovered by man. In the entire universe, there's nothing more deadly than plutonium. And I'm not worried about plutonium. I don't even think man can maintain a tea kettle, let alone a nuclear reactor. We're so incompetent.
You're right.
So the thing that'll save mankind is called mirror symmetry coils. The best example of a mirror symmetry coil is the baseball. Did you know they can't have a baseball game if you were to make, say, for instance, instead of that S-curve on the baseball, if you were to make it like quilt work or patchwork or something, that pitcher couldn't throw that ball. He couldn't throw a curveball. Did you know that how that S-curve reacts with the air around it as it moves through air? It causes it to either go straight or spin, depending on how he grips that S-curve. It's a very, very... It is a spiral, precise spiral. And there's even more I could say, but I don't want to go there right now. So I mentioned something here. First I mentioned was equilibrium. To get the whole back into the center, everything has to move. So thus equilibrium is different than balance. This symbol is in balance, but it is not in equilibrium. Our world is equilibrium because everything's moving around the axis. Nothing goes through the hole. Everything, when water goes down the drain, you see it makes a hole because you have to equalize the pressure on both sides. The hole has many functions and purposes. And everything defines the hole by going around the lip of the hole. Still with me? This line overlapping is not touching right here. There is a hole there. And this diamond in our culture and every culture represents perfection. Scripture again. I call thee, O manifest yet hidden, O unseen yet renowned, because the whole thing about this is for you to learn how to see the hidden and the unseen. O onlooker sought by all. And whatever I'm showing you, all those numbers, everything sees us at all times. I have found the all-seeing eye of God, and it's everywhere in our world. Next, please. Baha'u'llah. So, it's showing it. So there's a 9. Is something going to happen? Go ahead, let her rip. 1, 2, 4. This is called an underpinning nested vortices. It's not going to that 8 there. It's going to this 8 here when you're dealing with underpinning nested vortices. Okay, so now we took the 9 again. This is base 10 up to, and now I'm showing polarity of the numbers. What numbers have polarity? Okay, now we're seeing the waves of 9. So there's 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1. That will equal 9 because I'll show you. Let's go. 7, 5 is 12 is 3. 6 and 3 is 9. 9 plus 1 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 9. 1 plus 2 equals 3. 4 plus 3 equals 7. 7 plus 3 equals 10 equals 1. 1 plus 8 equals 9. 9 plus 9 equals 18 equals 9. This 9 is generating this waveform. So let's do this one now. Everyone still with me a little? And it doesn't matter what number you use on this map. And what am I showing? Kinetic energy. I'm showing that Newton's cradle, except I'm showing it on a hypersphere, a torus. 8 plus 4 is 12 equals 3. Now, if we had a nice automatic number counter and it was adding them up and showing them and I wouldn't have to say all this, I wouldn't like that because this is tiring. But I have no choice because we don't have that. 8 and 4 is 12 is 3. 3 plus 2 equals 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 6 equals 13 equals 4. 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 plus 2 equals 11 equals 2. 2 and 1 is 3. 5 and 3 is 8. 8 and 7 is 15 equals 6. 8 and 6, 5. 8 and 5, 4. 4 and 3, 7. 7 and 4, 11, 2. 7 and 2, 9. Plus 9 is 27 equals 9. So it's zeroing out. See, in computer science, we always say it's zeroed. It's nothing. But they're wrong. Nothing is nothing. It's not canceling out. It's everything. It's 9, but 9 is always invisible. You can't see it. Okay? So this isn't energy cancellation. This is energy survival. Okay? And now we've got a new one. Do I have to add it up? Do you believe me it equals 9? Okay. Waves of 9 reveals the latent potential energy waiting to be harnessed and released by the Roden coil hypersphere. So my last name is Roden, and vortex-based mathematics demonstrates the existence of this latent potential energy, proving that numbers are real and alive. And that's the hardest point to make. The reason it's called the Roden coil is because I'm the spearhead. I'm the human battering ram promoting this. But I called it the flux thruster atom pulsar. Actually, my friends did. Didn't too hard, too confusing, so it's just the Roden coil. Call it whatever you want. Vortex-based mathematics. That's the kind of math I'm talking about. You haven't begun to even see it yet. Has to do with the electron shear. Has to do with underpinning nested vortices. Haven't even gotten there. Numbers are real and alive. That's my claim. Why am I making that claim? Because I should be the most successful, wealthiest, living in comfort person on the planet with a claim like that if it was valid. The other thing it gets me is a Love Me jacket. Does everybody know what a Love Me jacket is? A Love Me jacket is a jacket that they put on you that's white. It's called a straight jacket, and you keep on hugging yourself. You love yourself. That's what you get for that. Okay, real numbers are real and alive? What are you talking about? Next, please. That's the invention. That's what this torus makes. That's the actual coil. It's an iron core, and it's, in this case, it's very little copper. It creates a gyroscope laser effect at the center. And again, so the existing Roden coil technology already gets rid of the weight problem in motors and coils. Now, I believe it can be printed as a circuit. I think it should be made out of plasma. I believe I can make a spaceship out of that. I believe I can use that to, not as a radionic device, so they've done tens of millions of dollars of sales as that to treat and heal people for deadly diseases. I don't espouse that. I don't teach that. I don't promote that. That's what other people have done independent of me. What I believe is that you can do gene splicing with it. But we'll save that for the next slides as it comes up. Quantum macroscopic heat engine. Because if I have taught you the secret of how to make a spaceship, you will understand how to do it on a macroscopic level. I'm going to show you that all quantum effects can be duplicated on the macro or gross level. That quantum is not confined to micro. And they know that now. They know that in Astro D, Physics Magazine, and everything else. We don't know it because we're not keeping up with the most latest research in the last year or two. They are creating macroscopic quantum results. All this exotic materials and cryogenics will all be obsolete because you can do things on the large scale. But two superimposed worlds. Why would I name it that? Because when God has a secret and he hides it, he does it by overlapping it. So I have two hands here, but you can't see the second one. So they're superimposed. This discovery is that the 396 at the base 10 system is not one system. Everybody thinks it's base 10. It's not. They're two completely separate systems, helically woven together. 396 is a completely different world than the 124875. When you separate them, you no longer have a blurry watercolor. You no longer get endless non-repeating decimals. You no longer get approximations. You don't have to take it up to the next number. If it's over 5, under 5, you don't have to round off because there's another way of doing math. Next, please. If you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe, Nikola Tesla. So I claim to know the secret of the 3, 6, and 9. And that's a family number group. But when I'm using it, it's palindrome 3, 9, 6. 9 always comes in the middle of 3 and 6. 3 and 6 are always on the outside, and DNA follows this pattern. And if you can follow, 3 and 6 is magnetic, 9 is spirit. They're inseparable. Only magnetic fields can respond fast enough to give slippage and free play to spirit. And when spirit's going forward, the magnetic fields are going in the reverse direction. Next, please. It's crazy. And if I'm right, that's even really, really crazy. So Einstein's cosmological constant would be, I'm saying, lambda is apogee 9. And I love this illustration. And thank you, BJ, who made this. And there's the number 9 at the top. And I'm trying to show how it works. And we would have to have a whole workshop that would go for 3 days to totally get the feel for it. Next, please. This is a very important slide. It's a little slow loading. Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to get to all that, I hope. Transdimensional, interdimensional, omnidimensional. 9 is the control. Only the number 9 lines up vertically over the 0. So 9's lining up over the 0. We talked about it. Creating an invisible W-axis. This orthogonal, that's the secret. It's a right angle to this axis. It's orthogonal. It's perpendicular. Runs perpendicular. It's a right angle to the 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. It's the relation of this to this. It's the relation of heaven. I'm claiming this is another world. This is the relationship of heaven to our physical world. And it's amazing how this world, how our world is dependent on that world. And I will come back to this symbol. Bear in mind, you recognize there's the base 10 numbers, 1 through 9. And you see it's a right and left mirror. It's all made out of triangles. We'll come back to this. So the blinking sapphire arrow charts spirit's omnidimensional pathway from the unmanifest into the world of form. It's a very beautiful line. Next, please. It's an honor and a privilege for me to be able to present this. I'm as much as a voyager on this as you. The Mobius circuit. The superfluid preferred longest mean free pathway of least resistance for electrical superconductivity always follows this bounded infinity circuit. So now we're getting a little bit farther along. Now you got your next or true picture animation, your first one. I don't have many. And what's it doing? I have illustrations that show this, but I'd rather talk it with the animation. You start with 1. 1 God, 1 universe. It doubles, becomes 2. That's Gabriel's trumpet. 4. Because the B is not a bilabial stop. It's a plosive. So when I say the most great name of God, I don't say, which is the comparative case, I'm just going to race through it, is Baha, means glory, in Arabic, Aramaic. It's a loan word out of Arabic to the Farsi language. It's in the Bible. It's in the Torah. It's in the Quran. It's in Buddhism. It's in everything. And the superlative case of Baha, which is the higher case, the highest, is called Abha. And that translates to splendor, wondrous, or glory. That's the heavenly world. And the B is not said as a B, which is a bilabial stop. When I say the most great name of God, based on my understanding, it becomes like Gabriel's trumpet. I go, like the buzzing of a bee. Completely different. And I had to learn all this math to help me understand that. So what happens is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, but I'm back to where I began. So why is the I Ching 64? Why is it the $64,000 question? Not because 8 times 8 is 64. We thought it was. Why?
The chessboard.
Loud.
For the chessboard.
What is that?
4 squares.
The chessboard.
4 squared?
The
No.
chess.
The chessboard.
Chess.
The chess game.
Chess game?
Oh,
64.
And the chessboard 64 too. Thank you very much. It's because it's one complete cycle of infinity. And it's not infinity of a straight line direction, it's infinity of a spin continuum. It's infinity of duration. So 64 doubles 128, but 1 plus 2 plus 8 equals 11 is 2. 256 equals 13 is 4. 512 equals 8. 1024 equals 7. 2048 equals 14 is 5. There's only 6 numbers in infinity before it repeats. So infinity isn't infinite. It's a bounded infinity, like the electron orbital. That's a big deal. I'm taking the binary code, which is doubling, right? We understand computers. And I'm saying I can turn conventional computers, I'm taking this back to how to make a supercomputer, and I can take that binary code and I can say, I'm not interested in how many transistors I can pack into the smallest processor I can make. I'm interested in cycling, how many times I go around. Hey, every high school, every college has a track and it's in a circle. It's not in a straight line. I'm interested in making a track for computer logic processors. Everyone see my vision?
Yes.
It's different. Do you agree? They're not doing that?
Yeah.
They're instead thinking that it's a huge, endless process. And I'm saying, no, it's periodic. It's repetitive. It's recursive. Okay, bounded infinity, 396, haven't even begun to explain this because everybody today, we're making computers that are using the binary code. Nobody knows how to use the 396693 to do calculations yet in a supercomputer. No one knows that you can't have the binary code without the 396693. I'm telling every computer scientist that you don't even have the whole picture yet. That's unbelievable. That there's another pattern, number pattern, in calculating that is indispensable to these calculations, which is the 396. Okay, remember we really have 18 numbers, not 9, because I could hide another 9 behind them. Remember I had polarity before, but because I give away the house and I share so much freely, I want to torture you. Inflict a little pain on you. It's not much pain, just a little Chinese water. Little Chinese torture. So, you see 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. You already think you're a master of that. Is everyone a master of it? You must be. You know one. You think you are. What's this? 396. Okay. So if I go from 3, because we know if I go 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, I'm going to go back to 1. You can't leave the train track. Okay. You're on a rail. But what happens with this? And bear in mind, why is it a dotted line? Because I'm trying to convey to you that it's a higher dimensional flux field. Because every coil, as I had to learn, you're now having to learn, as it was taught to me by Scott, who was my mechanical engineer, chief, every coil has an associated magnetic field with it, except it's not just magnetism, it's spirit and magnetism. The field is magnetism, the flux is spirit. It's a flux field. 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 4, 4 goes to 8, 7 goes to 5, 5 goes to 1, and the pattern repeats. It's periodic. You feel you're a little comfortable with that? Okay, so what happens with this? 3 goes to 9, 9 goes to 6. Robert, what is the next number, please? Roger. I always get everybody's names wrong because I'm in my own world when I'm doing this. What is the next number, please? It can only be a 3, 9, or 6. I'm giving you clues. 3, I'll tell you what I would guess if I was you in the audience. I would go 3, 9, 6, 6, 9, 3, 3, 9, 6. Wouldn't you think that?
Yeah.
I was going to say 3.
You would have said 3? Well, of course, because you're so difficult. Why would you have said 3? There is a reason.
Because I don't know why it would reverse direction.
He is right in a sense. And out of respect for him, because he really is right in a sense, I will answer that. But there's a slide that goes with it, so we're going to get this twice in this presentation. Because 3 and 6 can never touch, they're extreme opposites. They're the same as male and female. My opinion, I'm not an expert, it's just a hunch, that male is 3 and female is 6. It's because the hexagon is 6, and everything in nature is based on hexagon close packing. It's called closet packing. It has to do with the diamond gradient superconductivity because you can take 6 pennies around 1 penny and it makes a hexagon. That's why tortoise shell is hexagon. And so what happens is they had a big hexagon on the top of, what was it, Saturn. You could put 10 Earths inside it at the top of it. Everyone remember that hexagon? What is a spiral vortex doing making a hexagon shape? It's crazy to have a, and so, but it's for a reason. It's hexagon close packing. The two most extreme numbers, the yin and yang, is 3 and 6, because 3 doubled is 6. 6 doubled is 12, which equals 3. 12 doubled is 24, which equals 6. 24 doubled is 48 equals 12 is 3. 3 and 6 are the furthest most extremes of each other, but everybody thinks that the yin and yang is a duality. I just showed you a duality, 3 and 6 back and forth. There is no such thing as a duality. It's all an optical illusion. There's no such thing as black and white, male and female. There's always spirit in the center, which is the third part, which is the control, which is how God fashioned and created. It's the invisible hand behind everything is spirit, how God made the universe. And what is it represented? By the number 9. So normally people talk about the number 9, but I don't think you're ever going to get, other than this presentation or vortex-based mathematics, such an in-depth explanation really of how the mechanical properties of number 9, the technical properties of the number 9. So I didn't give you the answer to this yet. I think I'm going to save it for a while and make you suffer and torture you. But I can tell you it is definitely not the number 3. Okay, but we'll save it for a while. Next, please. See how I said I was going to torture him? I'm not going to give the answer. I can be tough. We are not alone. We did that last night. The 396 imparts both angle and ratio on the quantum macroscopic level to the 124875. Imparts both angle and ratio on the quantum macroscopic level. So I'm saying this is the higher dimensional. I typically refer to this as the 4th dimension, that's omnidimensional, and I'm saying that if all those higher dimensionals, 10, 11, 12, all compact together, if you get the angle of the lower dimensional, our physical concrete material world, the 3rd dimension right, all the higher dimensions will fall into place with it as well. And the secret is wherever the 396 is, you leave it alone. You don't put a conductor, you leave it alone. You put an empty space for the flux fields to create the underpinning nested vortices. I said a mouthful. So we just did this. This is actually a current presentation. This is only current to this week. We just did this. We are not alone. Next, please. I've never been able to stay on the right time of a presentation. God's archetypal brainwave encephalogram pattern. The binary code cannot exist without palindrome, 396693. Well, there's your answer then. So what comes after 6? Another 6, but you can't see it. So it goes 396. There's another 6 hidden behind the 6. Then it goes 693. And you know what? That 9 that you get there is not the same 9 that you're looking at, because you're now behind it. Because that 9 was a positive, this 6 was a negative, and that next 6 now is a positive, and that 9 now is a completely different 9. That's a negative 9 that you can't see until you're working on the torus skin, that they're completely different numbers. A few of you understand that. I don't see how you could follow that. If I was in this class following it, I'd be completely lost, just to let you know. Okay. The ultimate machine is the human temple, which is the throne of God. The brain is the antenna that transmits and receives divine guidance and illumination. I'm sorry I'm throwing God at you. I'm sorry. Yeah. But this is America. We get away with all that kind of stuff. So now we're going to the 396 and 93. Now you see they're different polarities. Okay? So it'll go -6, +9, -3, and then what's the next number? It'll be +6, -9, +3. Phase 1. There's 3 phases. I know it's, I should explain it. I won't. But see it flipping? That's how DNA works. 396, 693. Just type in DNA and put the word palindrome. You'll see all the amino acids, all the language and the coding being based on this flux field, which is the language of DNA. It's called the bioetheric template or the morphogenetic field. That's why this is really a double helix if you look closely. 9 is the spirit flux control. 3 and 6 are the instantaneous magnetic field results. Next, please. I'm enjoying this presentation, by the way. I really am. Spirit cleaves in twain the numbers 3 and 6. The triangle, diamond, and hexagon all occur in phase 1. because a triangle and a hexagon, they're all a part of the same thing. I have beautiful maps in my original book that I wrote, which had 500 illustrations, but another day, another time. I did it for making superconductor processors. Next, please. I'm kind of going a little too quick. There's the yin and yang, so I said there's no such thing as a duality. The third component is always invisible. It's the S curve. And I use that for electricity. To insulate electricity, it's a harmonic boundary. I don't need rubber. I don't need insulation. Remember the notes we had? Now that's what that was for. I'd use a grain, a shear. All the wood in all this hotel, you see this hidden grain. And the grain's a demarcation line. And I figured out how to make electricity, get rid of parasitics, get rid of friction, by not having anything. I don't need anything. I use its own harmonic oscillations to insulate it. Now, how's that? Next, please. That's why this works like sci-fi. This is why I'm like Chicken Little and saying the sky's falling. Who's going to believe something like this? Spirit's W-axis, the source of all motion, vibration, and time. And that's right there. Okay, next, please. Only the 3 and 6 magnetic fields can instantaneously respond to provide slippage and free play to the number 9 spiritual flux. The higher dimensional 396 flux fields pierce and impart spin to the 3D counter-spiraling 124875 Mobius circuits, which always comes in pairs. They always comes in pairs. You don't see all that. Now, what's interesting is I've started you guys, if I had put this at the end, you could never have absorbed it. So I'm putting it at the front, because then at the end, the other stuff's going to be really fundamental, and this stuff will kind of come to you in your sleep. Okay, next, please. Oh, keep that. Well, you see they were changing, that when that was negative, they were positive, and when that's positive, they're negative? That's the control. And that got there from shooting out of here. That's the farthest distance. That's why this symbol's so profound. It's showing the longest reach, which is a straight line. And that straight line may not exist after it punches the torus, because you have two things in the torus. You have the inner hole, which is the inner diameter, ID, and you have the circumference at the equator, which is called the OD, outer diameter. That 9 puncturing that invisible z-axis is the long. And this is revealing the girth, the breadth, the width. This is width, the breadth, like you're breathing. We'll keep going. Please, next. Omnidimension, 3D. That's all we're occupying, except we're interspersed by flux fields. We think everything's in a straight line. We don't see that everything in our world's being curved by this. But our world's a logarithmic. Our world's a spiral, 2 spirals, counter-rotating. Another world and another dimension. This is one world. This is another world. There's 2 worlds. So I just got to do it again. Another world and another dimension, woven together, interspersed, being sustained, sustaining one another. This is called the lesser world. The next one that our soul ascends to is called the greater world. This world's considered transient. This is not even considered, it's considered, the saying is, it's worth less than the dark eye of part of an ant. Okay, the base 10 system is composed, I'm reading it because I don't even know what I said, and I don't know if it's important or not. The base 10 system is composed of 2 distinctly separate yet overlapping worlds that are helically woven together. The third dimension is the 124875 surface topology. See, this is not a surface topology. This is the legend. This is the blueprint. This is how I did it. The torus is the surface topology, which we are still just beginning. The surface topology of the torus of the 396 vector is omnidimensional. The pumping action of the 396 flux fields causes the gliding action. The pumping action of this causes the gliding action of this, of the 124875 Mobius circuit. So literally, this world is literally not even moving of its own locomotion or accord. It's being driven by a higher dimensional world, the pumping action. Next, please. We live in a deterministic universe. So that's the $64,000 questions. That's the big dilemma, whether our world is predetermined or not, whether there are absolutes, whether there are fixed constants, and yes, there are. That doesn't mean we don't have free will. It doesn't mean that we can't do what we wish or don't have a pleasure. But it still means that all roads lead to Rome. There's no escaping the black hole. Eventually, the Earth will be pulled crushing flat into the center of the Milky Way solar systems. The Earth's mountains will be pulled crushing flat. The seas will boil off in their bed. The Earth will be mixed together with other planets and stars, spun around faster and faster and faster until we all shoot out. The other side of the black hole is a hot gaseous plume of nebular matter. It will go billions of light years in the form of a white hole, which is a pulsar. Every black hole has a white hole on the other side. It will eventually amalgamate, form new planets, new stars. Why did this happen? It's a process of renewal. A black hole is a compost pile. There's DNA. See the big gap space? That's called the major groove. Then we'll have the minor groove. Spirit reticulates DNA. Evolution is not random chance. DNA's double spiral helix has a bioetheric template guiding evolution. I wish I was kidding. I'm not. There's the double helix, but no one ever models the third component, which is the bioetheric template, the flux field. There's eddy currents, the nested vortices. I said it controls a spaceship. It controls DNA. It controls all information, sister strand unraveling, mitosis, cellular communication. I will read this because this is supposed to be what I'm really doing, my profession now. The higher dimensional 396693, little dots below, we were rating on. Show in red are responsible for DNA mitosis information encryption. DNA with the line compressing and decompressing underpinning nested vortices control amino acid and molecule cleavage and receptor sites. Spirit reticulates DNA. Evolution is not random chance. DNA's double spiral helix has a bioetheric template guiding evolution. Next, please. Yeah. That means that evolution is not haphazard trial and error. Thank you. All done.
My name is Robert Sepper. I'm an anthropologist. You can find my published books on Amazon. They make a great gift. Thank you to those who support me on Patreon. There should be a link below. Kindly share this video if you found it informative. Please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell for updates. I look forward to reading your thoughts in the comment section. Have a wonderful week, and I hope to see you again soon.